Good morning. I'd like to call this County Commission meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please silence all your cell phones if you have them. Take a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. I'll begin the roll call this morning with Commissioner Doug Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Stephen. Commissioner Vicki Cobb.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Jeff Culberson is here. Public comment. I don't have anybody signed up for public comment. Does anybody in the room have a public comment? Mr. Clint, would you like to say something this morning? Come on up to the podium, please. State your name and address.
My name is Louis A. Clint, Jr., and 1816 Pine Ridge Drive, at least for another few years. And that's Leavenworth, Kansas. You can start the 3 minutes now, and then I get, Gotcha. A year or two ago, I brought up to a county commissioners that I think there ought to be a museum committee. That doesn't mean hire somebody and then they have a committee of 4 or 5. It's just a committee to take care of the major business that we have that is not exceeding in what can, and that's the history of Leavenworth, okay? You've got prison now, and you've got the Lansing Museum Group taking care of it. That's who originally came up with the idea. No, they weren't the original ones, but they came up to support it. So I think it's very important that we do that because, and there's, Baser has, I'm sure, a museum in Tonganoxie and the little place out there on the river. There's a lot of museums, but a committee to sit and study how to make it further. I also talked to a commissioner about doing a courthouse. You don't have to do the whole thing, so you got it blocked off. That's not a big deal, but you can do one section. You don't have to do the whole thing. Do the one corner, do the other corner. It's going to take them a long time. So it would be very important as part of our history, but there's not too many people that care about history anymore. Julius would. Not everybody knows Julius. He would. There's a lot of people that have passed that would care about the history. County appraiser. We do not have a county appraiser. There is no Leavenworth County appraiser. There is a Kansas City or a Topeka appraiser, but no county. I was supposed to go to a meeting over in Topeka, and it was about 2 things. I own what I call the man cave. Nancy departs. I move into the man cave and live the rest of my life there. But don't want her departing so I can move. But 804 Cherokee, it is residential. I had it done in 2014, changed over to residential. They tax me commercial. Now, how do you tax something that's on the idiot form? Most forms are idiots. Commercial when it's appraised. Well, I talked to one of the greatest people that ever worked for the state, a lady down in Kansas City who handled an appeal of mine years ago. You can't find people to handle appeals anymore. And she said, well, it was a commercial before, wasn't it? Yeah, but I said, what's that got to do with it? I said, when Punk owned it, well, she said, who's Punk? And I said, Punk is Clarence Jenkins. So before that, it was residential, and before that, it was agricultural. Last thing, and I know the 3 minutes is up, but I have vacant lots in the bottom of 804 Cherokee. You can't build anything on them because there is a major sewer that goes up to Pennsylvania. So you can't build anything, but they don't care. The tax rate goes up every year. So you need to look into your state appraiser, not your county appraiser. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Louis. Anybody else have any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrative business. Mr. Lothar, do you have anything this morning?
I do have one thing, Commissioners. You received a request for a letter of support from Riverside Resources for their transportation grant. I'll have that on next week's consent agenda. We do that each year. So.
Okay.
Is that all you got? Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Couple items.
Okay.
Of course.
Question for Mr. Lawfrey. Received a letter dealing with ambulance services and stating that we had a policy that everyone had to be taken to a certain hospital. Can you clarify that?
Sure. Commissioners, there's no such policy. There's no contract. We don't.
That's right.
There never has been. We don't have a contract with a specific hospital that will take everybody there. Our EMS drivers are mandate that they take patients to the closest facility capable of providing the emergency services required. So not every hospital has an ER that can handle certain call-outs, so that's the only time it varies. But other than that, it's the closest. It's 911 you've called. It's an emergency. You want them to get you to advanced life care as quickly as possible, and that's how they make their decisions. No other way. It's not a financial decision on our part. So.
Yeah.
So, second thing, there was a mailer sent out from a local representative, and I think when the county commissioners are invoked, that it's deserving of response.
Did you bring that mailer? I'd like to see it.
I have a picture of it.
Yeah.
Good enough.
But one of the items that was stated is that the county commissioners do not want to reduce the taxes on property, that it's that we're not cutting spending and doing our job. And I think the clarification, once again, and we said this I think 100 times, is if there's $1 of your property taxes, the county part of that is about 25 cents. The school district part is about 60 cents. And then your city is another 22 cents, and then all the other entities. So when they're saying that the county doesn't want to reduce your mill, well, we have actually been reducing
We've been reducing it.
Up to this year because of the building. We had to make some adjustments, but we've been reducing the mill. But we don't have the authority over the school districts. You're going to have to talk to your local school board. We don't have the authority over the cities. You're going to have to talk to your city council or city commission members. So when a representative portrays it, which is a common misconception that the county commissioners have control over your property taxes, complete control, that's not true. And I think one of the things we need to do is clarify that to people, is that
Mike,
it's just simply not true.
I tend to agree, but I take it a step further. I'm tired of people putting out there, if you're going to put it out there, stand up to it. It's Representative Neely. He put that out, and it's not correct. So if the person's going to put that out, I have no problem saying his name here to say, come up here and show us that, because I know for a fact it's not true.
None of the stuff on that mailer was correct.
And it's just unfortunate that you use your one and only mailer for the general election to attack the county commissioners, when it's just not true. And there was another part on there that talked about that during the time when LAVTR was in effect, that the money was not used for property tax relief.
And it's built in the bill that says it has to be. Plus, Leavenworth County passed another resolution saying that it would be. So, again, nothing on that mailer was correct.
So what else would you spend money on besides service?
And if you send 15,000 postcards out,
and people
give misinformation,
and people think that it's true. They don't do their homework.
It's very disappointing.
That's the problem, is people don't do their homework to verify, is this postcard even accurate? No, it's not. Absolutely nothing on that postcard was accurate.
Jeff,
but people believe it.
You made a good point. I had a citizen come in, I think it was yesterday, and didn't know the whole story. And I've known him for 30 years. Mm-hmm. He's lived in this community. In fact, he wasn't in my district, but he's known me. So we sit down and we talked about it. He's taking notes. He said, this isn't what I was told by certain legislators.
Yeah.
I said, do your homework.
I can't believe a state representative would Put out false information?
Oh, heaven forbid. Heaven
I
forbid.
don't understand it at all.
And if we had gotten LAVTR funded fully,
$4 million.
and we had capped property taxes together, you would have had a significant difference on your property tax bill in Kansas.
As I heard someone say, Topeka's broke, let's fix it.
Not cash-wise, they're not broke.
No, I'm talking about
The system's
the
broke.
system broke.
Not the bank.
I heard a person running for office say the system's broke, and he was absolutely correct.
The part that really I don't understand is how they're not working with us. Instead, they've turned us into a war. I
know.
don't understand that at all. We've laid out the issues. We've shown them where the problems are. They should be saying, thank you, let's get this fixed. And instead, they're like, oh, you guys are lying, or you're making this
But
up,
Jeff,
or
it's
you're
even-
the problem.
What's
I
even worse than
don't
that?
get it.
They won't even meet with us.
That's the problem.
How
They
many
don't
times have
Hopefully
we
they
involved
got
care.
a pre-legislative breakfast in December, I hope.
Hope so.
Hopefully I'm still on the
Last
board.
year, this representative didn't come.
They tell you one thing, and they
One
do
again.
something else.
Same day.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we've got a lot of work to do. I think we've got to continue educating, and this forum can be used to educate. Is we're doing our part to keep the taxes down, and we've been tight on spending. Now, this year with this building, it's different, but it's been difficult with this building.
But the people that we need the help from to fix it, instead
They
of
won't.
owning up to it and saying, you're right, let's get this fixed, they're denying that they're the problem. I don't know how it's going to get fixed.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can
Well,
somehow work with them.
and there's a lot of easy fixes too.
Yeah.
Like I said, the cap,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole comparable sales thing. It's easy fix.
Yep, I agree.
You don't have to think outside the box very far.
And people need to wake up. When they can pass legislation overnight for gaming or entertainment, professional baseball and
Bring in a battery.
football teams overnight, but to work on property tax relief, they can't get anything done in 6 years.
And the STAR bonds that they
Point.
passed could potentially indent the people for 30 years, and they did that in a day.
Exactly. So it's not that they can't do it, it's that they don't want to.
Yep.
And I know why they don't, but people need to do their homework to find it out for themselves why they're not.
Who they're actually working for.
So
Yep.
we're going to try to keep educating people.
Trying.
We've been doing a good job with that.
That's all we can do.
That's all you can do.
5 years?
Yeah, we've been.
Do you have any more administrative business,
No.
Mark? Anybody else?
I don't. No.
No, listen.
So I just wanted to thank our election workers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They had a
We
brutal
know
job, didn't they?
we know exactly what that takes and what you guys go through, and we really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
If every state did their elections like Leavenworth County, Kansas, we wouldn't have any issues. So-
I tell you what, we all appreciate that. I did want to make a quick announcement, though. Usually we have our audit on Friday, but because of some new regulations through the Secretary of State's office, we will have that audit tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And it's been on our website, you know, when it is and the time, but I thought I wanted to announce it in a public meeting,
Sure.
Okay.
that it is tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
You know what the precincts are already?
No? Well, because of the timeliness of having to get it through so quickly, I'm just going to have some random election workers draw the precincts. Because here we have to be prepared for 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know what the races are. So we'll be having to
Yeah. Okay.
do all of that today. So. But thanks for you guys' support. And I did just want to make that announcement.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Janet.
Thank you, Janet.
Thanks, Janet.
Janet, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
How many people ended up voting early and in
At the
person,
courthouse.
or approximately?
We had almost 15, I think it was almost 15,000 people vote early. 14.8 or something. I think I told you, Mark. I can't remember.
folks.
And then we had close to 4,000 mail that came in. So really, we had more than the majority pretty much, or a 50-50 count on early voting versus polling day.
Wow.
Before the election, I had calculated that we needed to have around 23,000 people vote on election day in order to get a 70%. But we did not have that many. And we only got a 65% turnout.
That's still really good for an election, though. 65%.
It's improving.
Yeah. It was 17, wasn't it, for the...
People really came out in droves for our early voting, whether it was here at the courthouse, we did it at Lansing,
Yep.
We did it at Tonganoxie, we did it at Baser, and we set some records at those early voting sites that we had not seen before.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
So this was the first year that Leavenworth County did a satellite Saturday voting. And we had 600 people vote then, which was very good considering it was the first time we had done a Saturday. We had 1,213 people vote at Tonganoxie at the VFW. We had 1,725 or 1,750 people vote early at the Baser Methodist Church. We had people waiting in line 2 hours at the Baser Methodist Church to vote early.
Wow.
So that's pretty remarkable. And really, we should be proud of our voters and our election workers that, helped make all of this possible.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Janet.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet.
Next Wednesday, we will have a big day because we do have one race that is extremely close, and I'm quite certain that we will have some company to watch our campus. So, anyway. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Anybody
you.
have any other questions?
Ballots continue to be, if they were postmarked before yesterday, they're going to come in the next 3 days, correct?
That's right. So any ballot that was dropped off at the polling place yesterday, along with the mail when it comes in today, will be counted. And I will post new results on our webpage. And that will continue for Thursday and Friday also. The race that I'm talking about being so close is the 5th Senate District. And we have to think about Wyandotte County also has 10 or 12,000 registered voters that are in the 5th Senate District. So it won't just look at Leavenworth County's early voting and provisional, but Wyandotte County's
Right.
will also have to be
Right.
considered. So, any other questions?
That's why everybody needs to
Well,
vote.
That's
I
right.
will
Every time.
see you guys next Wednesday.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I mean it when I say if every place voted like Leavenworth County, Kansas, we wouldn't have issues. We're one of the last states that require picture ID to
Yeah.
vote,
Yeah.
and 27 states require no ID whatsoever to
What
vote.
about the ones that have the same day registration?
Crazy.
Cross the border and coming in, sign up.
Something else I wanted to bring up, the railroad. We sent a letter out to the railroads asking about the crossing. I got a call back from a Ben Jones at the railroad basically saying, we're very sorry that happened. If it happens again, let us know, and we'll make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
That's all we ask.
So,
That's all we ask.
Okay.
and
Tell somebody.
he said he's the right contact if it happens again to get a hold
You
of.
got his contact information?
I do.
Speed
His
dial?
personal
everything.
cell number.
All right. Good for you.
So that's where
So we
that.
will document, I will tell people down in that area to document, and
Give that number out.
Right beside yours,
I
Mike.
don't know if I'll give the number out.
That's good. That's good.
But anyway, we'll document.
With leadership
You ready for a
comes
motion?
responsibilities.
Ready for the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Begin voting with Commissioner Doug Smith.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda passes. Formal board actions. I don't have anything on the schedule this morning.
No.
So So we can move on to presentations and discussion items. Do you have anything to talk about, Doug, this morning?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, begin voting with Doug Smith.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Yeah, this is your record.